Hello guys and welcome to another video. In today's video I'm going to show you and review a set of 72 colored pencils that Woomer Art kindly sent me. Many people are talking about this set because it seems that, despite being cheaper than its main competitors, it maintains a very high quality. So if you're looking for a set of colored pencils that are low price but still perform well, this might be the set for you. On Woomer Art website we read that their mission is to provide high performance art supplies at competitive prices. And we are here to try these pencils and verify whether this is true or not. So without further ado, let's start with the unboxing. Unboxing time! And here we are finally. Let's take a look at the set that was sent to me. First of all, I have to admit that I love this metal box. It's super simple but elegant. A bit like Apple style, with just the Woomer logo in the center. Very cool. Okay, now let's take a look at the pencils inside. Wow. They look so beautiful. This is a really nice set. I love the color selection, honestly, and just looking at them makes me want to try them out. I can't wait. As you can see, we have a lot of yellows, blues, greens, browns, purples, a lot of midtones, but for a 72 set, this is pretty cool. Now let's pick one pencil to see how it is. We have the plus signs indicating the lightfastness of the pencil, the more plus signs the better, and the Woomer logo, which is barely visible honestly. If you're not familiar with the Lightfastness concept, it's basically the color's resistance to fading when exposed to light. Woomer said they have tested these pencils a lot and choose a mix of oils and materials to make these colors as much as possible light resistant. They rated the lightfastness of the pencils with a code that goes from no plus signs, which means not light fast at all, to 5 plus signs, which means extremely light fast. As you can see, the majority of the pencils in the set has around 4+, which is great, even if of course I can't test this now. Okay, now it's time to do 3 mandatory tests, starting with blending. I chose a series of colors to try to make a rainbow, perhaps too many given the limited space. Anyway, I started with the red, applying more pressure on the left edge and leaving a light layer to blend with orange, and then moving on to yellow and so on until blue. I'm using a 300 grams watercolor paper, which is slightly rough, so it leaves a little bit of texture. For perfect blending, smooth paper would be surely better, but I prefer to have a bit of texture in general. Also, I am pushing the blending a bit to make all the colors fit, so there are some colors that are forced together, a little too different in tone. I must say, however, that I am very satisfied with the result, considering what I said. I have to say that these pencils have a lot of pigment, leaving on the paper a lot of color that is very saturated and vivid. Blending is easy and satisfying. From this test alone, I can say that they remind me a lot of polychromos from Faber-Castell, but I will come back on this topic later. The second test is layering, and for this I choose a chili pepper red. I want to see how the colors layers, and so I increase the number of layers from one square to the next, keeping the pressure the same. Again, after just one pass, and I promise I'm keeping my touch very light, a lot of colors is already left on the paper. The layering is excellent and you can clearly see that each layer adds a lot of color to the previous one. I honestly think that this is even better than blending. The third and final test is erasing, and I used a deep cobalt green. I decided to try erasing both a thick layer where I had pressed down hard and a light layer. I also used a random eraser, so not the best one, because I haven't colored with pencil in a long time and I don't know where my tools are anymore. I don't usually like to give ratings, but for the sake of the review and to give you my personal opinion in case you want to understand if this product is right for you, I will give ratings out of 10 to these 3 tests with the help of my friend Snorlax. We both agreed that the blending is excellent. The core is soft, but the tip doesn't break. It's very solid and robust. And so we choose to give 8 out of 10 for the blending. Regarding the layering, I am extremely satisfied with the performance of these pencils. The colors layers very well and easily even without pressing too hard. A solid 9 out of 10. And the same for erasing, 9 out of 10. The eraser removed almost all the color, so very good. Okay, enough tests now. There are thousands of channels that do all these kind of tests better than me, but I think that honestly it's a bit boring. And I personally think that the best way to show the potential of an art supply and to test it is to do an actual artwork. I thought a lot about what to draw, and in the end I made this sketch right here. Let's start! This sketch is very detailed, and so I don't know if I will follow it precisely. It gives me a guideline to follow, and then I will decide whether to make changes based on how the drawings turns out. As I mentioned above, I don't have much experience with colored pencils, because in recent years I have used alcohol-based markers much more, and more recently acrylics, because pencils require a much slower process, and between university and work I don't have a lot of time to dedicate to art. Also, my main focus artistically is ink. I love line art. If you're not familiar with this channel, I will show you some examples of work that I have done in the past. Anyway, I thought a lot about what would be the best subject to test these pencils, and in the end I decided that I should draw something very colorful to test as many colors as possible. So I immediately thought about flowers, but I find it a bit boring to draw only flowers, so I opted for a female subject whose face was framed by flowers. That's how this sketch came out. Also, I only recently started doing some portraits with acrylics, and so I wanted to continue exploring this field a little. My only concern was that it would be too detailed and time-consuming, because I was a little behind with this video between reviewing another product in August and going on vacation and being sick for a few days when I got back. Anyway, I'm really enjoying a lot this illustration, and as you can see, the face is almost finished and the blending is excellent so far. At this point, the face is almost finished. I just need to add the hair and the contours, but since I haven't colored the flowers yet, I'm not sure where they are, so I prefer to frame the image with the flower first and then finish the face. Since I didn't have much time, I didn't look at any references for this drawing, neither for the face nor for the flowers. I went a little by instinct for the coloring, deciding on the fly. Initially, I didn't know whether to make all the flowers the same type with slight variations in color to contrast with the girl's face, or to make all the flowers different in shape and color. In the end, I chose the latter option because, although it's more chaotic in terms of composition, it gives me the opportunity to try out more colors and see the potential of this set. So, the flowers and the girl's face are not perfect, but for the purposes of the test, it's better this way. Since coloring all the flowers took me a really long time, I decided to make a faster time-lapse so you can see the entire process without the video lasting an hour. As the painting progresses, I will give you my opinions on the pencils, the sensations they gave me while I was using them. But first, I would like to take a few seconds to remind you to like the video, comment and, above all, subscribe and activate the notification bell if you haven't already done so. This simple gesture helps my channel to grow a lot and allows me to continue producing content like this. Thank you very much. Okay, first of all, I can already tell you that I absolutely love these pencils. Actually, they really surprised me. When they sent them to me, I expected to write a review with pros and cons, given their low price. Instead, there are almost no downsides, and I was the first to be surprised by this. These pencils are very comfortable, handy, and have a great size. The colors of the pencils matches the colors on the paper perfectly, so there is no problem choosing the right color when looking at the set. This is not a given at all, as many pencils have a color that does not exactly match the color on the paper, and this is annoying because you always have to go through the palette to choose the right color, but this is definitely not the case here. Now, before moving on to the most important aspect of this set in my opinion, let me introduce you my personal assistant Nami. Okay, thanks Nami, now you can go back to sleep. Let's get back to the review now. The core of the pencils is very soft, buttery and gives the same melting feeling as much more expensive pencils. These pencils are very similar to the Faber-Castell Polychromos in my opinion, which cost a lot more, and I would say that they are unmatched in their price range. To make a comparison with alcohol-based markers, if you are more familiar with them, these pencils remind me a lot of Ohuhu markers in relation to Copic markers. The price difference is exorbitant and in general Copics are superior, but Ohuhu markers come extremely close to the performance of Copics and cost much less, making them preferable to the latter. Here it's a bit the same thing. These pencils cost about $30 or €30 if you're in Europe, and this price makes this set a truly incredible product in my opinion. In fact, sets of pencil from more well-known brands, but of similar quality of this one, can easily cost around €100, which is 3 times as much or even more. The only little problem I have found is with the color range, because with 72 pencils there are a few that I think that are missing and would be useful in certain cases. In particular, there is a lack of a nice full orange and also an ivory white. I really like having a more yellowish, warmer white for blending warm colors, as pure white tends to tone them down a bit. In this illustration I used a lot the Caribbean Sea light blue to blend the cool colors of the flowers, and I missed having a similar shade for the warmer tones. Otherwise, the set is more than adequate, and I think this drawing is the best demonstration that these colors are varied enough to color just about anything. Especially because you can always use blending and layering, which work very well with these pencils. By the way, if you are interested in purchasing these pencils, I will leave the link to Woomer website in the description, along with a coupon that Woomer has given me, which will give you an additional 10% discount on your purchase. This brings the price of the set down even further, so I can only highly recommend it at this point. Honestly, I have zero problems recommending this set because I am genuinely impressed with it. I am extremely satisfied with how this drawing turned out, and I know for sure that if you try it, you will agree with me. Also, I would love to hear your opinion on the video and on the pencils. Know that I read all the comments, so feel free to comment. I really appreciate it. At this point, we are almost done with this illustration. I just need to fill in a few small holes with tiny flowers and finish the girl's face, which I ultimately decided to leave bare, without hair on the forehead. And now that I've actually finished, I will add a little white with a gel pen for the highlights and the signature, to really finish it off. Now we are finally at the end of the video, so let's take a look at the final result. As always guys, thank you very much for following me this far. I hope you enjoyed the drawing and the video. Many thanks to Woomer for the set, and see you in the next video.
Goodbye!